Ilia could knock heavyweights out. We've seen that. He can knock anyone out when he touches them. I think Ilia versus Islam is the biggest fight the UFC can make, hands down, in my opinion. You've got two-weight world champions. One will try go for greatness and be the first triple champ of all time. So it's an absolutely gigantic fight. Like, you cannot beat around the bush. You have to just state the obvious and understand it. However, I don't know if the UFC want to do that, because then you slow down two divisions. But is it worth it? If they're going to get the money in return and the business is there and the people want to see it, the UFC will do it. So it's an interesting topic. I don't believe they're going to do it right now. I think when you've got the likes of Sarukian and Paddy and Gaethje, they need to have that belt competed at lightweight, and Ilia needs to defend that belt. Islam just won the belt and has to fight a welterweight. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. But it absolutely is the biggest fight in the sport you could make right now. Way bigger than anything to do with John Jones and Aspinall and Pereira, in my opinion.
The only person I just believe that Ilia would, without a doubt, fight is Islam. Doesn't matter what Islam does outside of a fight with him. When that fight will be brought to the table, he'll always go back and revisit that, because that's the biggest fight. And a fight between him and Islam is much bigger than the fight between him and any of those other guys. So while the guys are speaking fact, in terms of fight the number one contender, you're not necessarily thinking about the champion side, where the champion at times should go, hey, there's some reservation.
Islam versus Ilia isn't just fan fantasy anymore. Dana White has cracked the door open, and the MMA world is already rushing through it. The moment he hinted at the matchup, analysts lit up, fans picked sides, and every expert with a microphone started weighing in.
Ilia Topuria taking on Islam Makhachev. I like that fight. That's a great fight. But here's the question. Is it at 155 or is it at 170?
It's unfair at 170.
I mean, I think Ilia Topuria...
Michael, I know he could win. I know he could. But I think there's like you kind of owe it to competitiveness. To 155 this. I know that Ilia gets the third opportunity at belt, but at no fucking point in UFC history should Ilia Topuria and Michael Morales be in the same weight class. That is something that I don't want to see that listed. Like, at one point, Ilia was at 170 and Michael Morales is a 170 pounder. Like, he just isn't a 170 pounder. Like, that is the case. He can be a featherweight that moves up to lightweight. But I think at 170, the difference would be too much. With Makhachev, it's not limbs. It's not height.
Yeah.
He's not the tallest guy at welterweight. He's not going to have the longest reach at welterweight, the frame like this. It's the back. When he's on top, you can see his back and his torso. It's like, yeah, you're not getting up from this.
Yeah.
This is a different type of grappling that you got to watch out for. Maybe Ilia could... Listen, doubting Ilia has become like a loser's profession. Like, that's just that's not the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't doubt Ilia Topuria, because he'll make it happen. And maybe he'll get in Makhachev's head a little bit as well. JDM was kind of just sort of staying calm in the build-up. And, someone will ask him a long-winded question and he'll go, yeah, we'll see. And that's it. That's what we get by JDM. But there's no way that's going to sort of get under Makhachev's skin in any way. But Ilia could poke the bear a little bit. He could poke things and pick on things and go this way and get his MMA guru on with rattling Makhachev and his fan base.
If this matchup materializes, it has the potential to shake not only a division but the entire sport. Joe Rogan described Khabib's camp as an environment where distractions are eliminated and champions are shaped through relentless discipline. No nightlife, no social media, no shortcuts, only a continuous cycle of training and recovery. That's the setting that developed Makhachev, the version that could face Ilia Topuria. When a fighter mold in that environment meets an elite precision striker like Ilia, the matchup becomes more than a fight, it becomes a clash of two fundamentally different worlds.
I mean, Ilia's got to go out there and beat Justin Gaethje. He's got to go out there and beat Paddy, whoever he beats. He's got to go out there and get the job done. But Ilia, I'm so curious if Islam can do this to Ilia. Ilia, he matches that skill set. And I just feel like it would be a lot closer of a fight than Jack versus Islam was. That's the fight.
Because if this matchup becomes real, it won't just shake a division, it'll shake the whole world. Let's dive into what people are saying. Joe Rogan painted Khabib's camp as a place where distractions get cut out and champions get carved through sheer obsession. No nightlife, no scrolling, no shortcuts, just a non-stop cycle of grind and recovery. That's the environment that molded Makhachev, the version of him that could collide with Ilia. And when you mix a fighter raised in that pressure cooker with a sniper like Ilia, you get a matchup that feels less like a fight and more like two completely different worlds crashing into each other.
I had unbelievably grueling training sessions, and that was one of the things that was so apparent, like with his endurance and their discipline was like second to none. Mm-hmm. They were like, no girlfriends, no phones, no bullshit, no video games, fuck you, we train.
Yeah.
And recover, train, eat, recover, train. And you wanna really be a champion, this is how you have to work. Mm-hmm. And this is how Islam Makhachev is so good. That's why Khabib is so good. Those guys are disciplined.
And Ilia isn't exactly sitting quietly while that narrative builds. Right after Rogan praised the grind that shaped Islam, Ilia flipped the script with a fiery shot of his own, saying, a champion who needs an entire camp just to focus on wrestling is already showing cracks. He added that if Islam wants to understand real toughness, he should spend some time in Georgia. To Ilia, the problem isn't Islam's technique, it's his lack of fire. And with every comment, he makes it clearer, he truly believes he's the one who will shut Islam down and switch his lights off when they finally meet. But Javier Mendez pushed back hard on Ilia's boring label, pointing out that Islam just delivered one of the most dominant performances the welterweight division has seen, nearly 20 straight minutes of control at Madison Square Garden, capped with a moment already etched into UFC history. He said Ilia is doing what fighters do, stirring the pot and trying to hype the matchup. But behind all the talk, Mendez made one thing clear. If Ilia keeps winning and the UFC wants it, that showdown is happening sooner or later. Whether it's at welterweight or Ilia chasing something even bigger, Mendez believes all roads eventually lead to Islam. And if Ilia really wants that historic triple champ shot, Islam will be waiting.
There's no emotion in Islam and he's boring. But I mean, how could you say that moment was boring, right? It was one of the most historic moments in the welterweight division now, right? In Madison Square Garden, an absolute domination. 19 minutes and 10 seconds of control time for Islam. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And, I mean, as a fighter, you got to try to mark up the fights and get everybody involved. And he does a great job of doing that, So let's see what happens, if the UFC offers him, then no problem. I mean, I can't answer for Islam, but I'm saying no problem. Islam and his, Ali, who I consider the greatest manager in the business, will do the right thing for Islam. So, but let's face it, we're going to meet him eventually, whether it's the White House or whether it's another time. Let the UFC decide that, I say. But we're going to meet him eventually if he wants to continue to come up. But I seriously doubt Islam will want to come down. And for him, it's the first time anybody will ever go for a triple, right? He'll be the first triple challenger for it. So that would be a monster fight for the whole world.
Michael Bisping brushed off Ilia's shots like someone who's seen this game 1,000 times. In his eyes, Ilia accusing Islam of jumping to 170 out of fear isn't some grand revelation, it's just the kind of bait fighters throw when they're chasing a showdown. He framed it as pure strategy, a way to poke at Islam and keep his name in the conversation. To Bisping, it's all part of the theater before the real fight gets made, not something anyone should take too literally.
People are going to say stuff like that because they want to fight each other. So he's trying to poke the bear and he's trying to get that matchup. Ilia says that Islam ran away to 170 because he was scared of Ilia and all the rest of it.
He knows that I'm dangerous. He knows that I'm going to put him to sleep. Even Khabib.
That's what fighters do. Don't put too much stock into that.
He said you're like the most boring fighter in the UFC or something like that. Can you give us your full thoughts on a fight with him now?
No injury, nothing. I don't feel any pains. I'm ready. Who is going to be next? Let's do this, and I will make...
And Bisping isn't buying into the hype just yet. He doubts Ilia versus Islam will hit the cage anytime soon. In his view, Ilia is more likely to focus on defending his belt a few more times at featherweight before even thinking about a move to welterweight. And with plenty of challengers lined up in that division, Bisping sees no reason to rush this mega showdown. At least not yet.
Ilia Topuria is going to come out and say that because he wants that fight. Could you imagine if Ilia Topuria was afforded the ability to go up and become a 3-weight division champion? Again, I say it all the time. No one's ever done that. And I don't think that's what's going to happen here just yet. I think Ilia's going to defend. We don't know who it's going to be. Could be Ahmed Sarukian because he's fighting next week in Qatar. It could be Paddy. It could be Justin Gaethje. But he's got to fight one of those. And he's probably going to defend a couple more times as well before he even thinks about going up to welterweight. And then when you look at welterweight, I mean, what is going to happen there? Because the welterweight division is ridiculous right now. Of course, Michael Morales has a claim to fight for the belt because he's 19-0. He's undefeated and just knocked out Sean Brady. You've got Carlos Pratis that just sparked out former champion Leon Edwards in devastating fashion, did something that no one's ever done to Leon Edwards. So he's got a shot. You've also got Shavkat Rakhmonov that was the number 1 contender, but then he got injured. You've got Bilal Muhammad going up against Ian Gary. Ian Gary's making a lot of noise saying that he wants to fight for the belt as well. And then, of course, after all that, you've got Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian nightmare. So there is no shortage of opponents. Oh, you've also got Joaquin Buckley.
On the other hand, Ali Abdulaziz didn't hold back, questioning Ilia's approach and urging him to carve his own path first. He pointed out that Islam has already defended his title multiple times, while Ilia hasn't even defended his once. To Ali, jumping into a fight now wouldn't do Islam any favors and it would put Ilia at a physical disadvantage. His advice was simple: build your legacy, rack up wins, secure your contracts, and then chase the big fights. He also warned that trying to stir drama online, like others have done before, always comes back to haunt you when you finally meet your targets in the cage. In his eyes, Ilia is flirting with the same mistakes Dylan Dennis once did.
I don't understand this guy. He's just, my opinion, just be yourself. You have to be yourself. And I think, I met this guy before. He's a decent guy, honestly. He's nice. But in a way, we get this thing from him, you went there, you haven't even defended your title once. You understand? Islam defended 4 times. Have a couple of fights. Islam will fight him. It's no problem. But in a way, why Islam? What Islam have benefit of beating Ilia Topuria, right? Is like almost not beating Dylan Dennis. It's because Ilia Topuria is one of the greatest fighters right now. Honestly, he's so good. Honestly, but in a way, you're gonna be in the cage 20 pounds less than Islam. You understand? Yeah. And create your own legacy. Build your own self. You're young. You're hungry. You're good. Make your money. Run your contract out and get a new contract. You understand? And fight Islam for big prize money. Let Islam do his thing. You do your thing. And after that, you guys fight. But in a way, I feel he's taking a page out of Connor's book. When big fights on, you get on Twitter and write. And you get attention. Earn your own attention. Live your own legacy. Don't live legacy for other people.
However, Shil Sonnen called out the hype surrounding the White House card, saying it's a bit overblown. In his view, trying to promote fights for a card that isn't fully built in a venue that doesn't even exist yet is just plain frustrating. But when it comes to Ilia versus Islam, Sonnen sees the storyline clearly. That's the matchup the UFC is slowly building toward as the main event. He praised Ilia for proving he can handle and dominate bigger opponents, but he also noted that the ultimate test for Islam would be stepping up against someone like Kamaru Usman, a fight that could genuinely signal a changing of the guard. Right now, he argues, the clash with Ilia doesn't carry that same historic weight, because there's no old guard to dethrone.
Dialogue around the White House card is annoying. It's annoying to try to book a card that is not yet built at a venue that does not yet exist, to place an Octagon who has not yet been constructed for the space. I do think it's annoying. But I do think that Ilia and his match with Islam is the match they're building towards main eventing on that card. So how are you going to get him there? Ilia went and did his part. Ilia showed I can beat the big guys. I can control the big guys. You want to do another big guy? I mean, the ultimate way for Ilia to really show us, and I'm saying Ilia, I mean Islam, for Islam to really show us, the ultimate way for him to show us I can do this work would be against Kamaru Usman. That's the one where we all stand back and go, okay, there's a changing of the guard. This doesn't feel like a changing of the guard because we didn't have an old guard.
Sonnen highlighted just how fearless Ilia is in his approach. He noted that Ilia's callouts aren't vague. He lays out exactly how he plans to dominate, whether in grappling, wrestling, or pure control, and even offers opponents a chance to train with his team to prepare. Sonnen called it a bold, no-nonsense strategy, especially for a fight that might never happen. Even if Islam hypothetically came out on top, Ilia wouldn't drop in the pound-for-pound rankings. His skill and reputation alone keep him near the top, proving that perception can matter as much as wins and losses. Then there's Kamaru Usman, who threw cold water on the idea of Islam versus Ilia. He warned that the champion stands to gain almost nothing while risking everything. Moving up to welterweight won't suddenly make Ilia a dominant force or guarantee a new belt. For Islam, a misstep could be costly. Losing to a featherweight would have brutal fallout. In Usman's view, the risk far outweighs any potential reward, making this showdown a dangerous gamble. Building on Usman's warning, Ian Gary added another perspective. This fight might be too big for its own good. Even if Islam versus Ilia could shake the sport, Gary argued it could stall two divisions in the process. He called it the UFC's biggest potential fight, far outpacing matchups with Jones, Aspinall, or Pereira, but pointed out the timing isn't ideal. Top contenders like Arman, Patty, and Gaia are waiting. Ilia still has featherweight obligations, and Islam just stepped up to welterweight. On paper, the clash is monumental, but making it a reality anytime soon is another story. Marab Dvalishvili also weighed in and didn't sugarcoat it. This would be a punishing test for Ilia. Facing a champion like Islam won't be easy, but he sees a real opening for Ilia to shine. Dvalishvili explained that Ilia's style forces opponents into a trap wrestle and risk being stopped, or trade strikes and face his lethal knockout power. Every fight is a grind, but Ilia has the tools and opportunity to finish Islam if this matchup comes together. Sean Ali chimed in with high praise for the potential showdown, calling it a fight that would make even Islam versus Jack look easy. He said it would be one of the most skillful matchups ever, with both fighters operating at a 10/10 level in MMA. According to Ali, very few athletes in the sport can seamlessly combine striking, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu at that caliber, making this clash a true dream fight for fans. Now, it's your turn. How do you see this fight playing out? Will Islam's grappling dominance keep him on top, or can Ilia's knockout power and fearless style pull off the upset? And if the UFC makes it official, where and when could this showdown actually happen?